The American Express Gold Card has long been known as one of the best credit cards in the world for food. That means supermarkets, that means restaurants. And it's rumored that the American Express Gold Card's annual fee is going to be raised from where it is right now. But before we can see if it's worth the higher annual fee, we first have to see if it's worth the current annual fee. So we're going to do a review of the American Express Gold Card to see if this card is worth it for you, given the annual fee and everything that goes into it. First, we're going to talk about the card's welcome offer, followed by the card's annual fee. Then we're going to talk about the card's credits to see if it gives you anything in return to offset that annual fee, followed by what this card is really loved for, which is its multipliers on different categories. And last but not least, we're going to talk about issuer rules. If you don't know what those are, hang tight, we'll get to them, but I promise they're important. First off, let's start with the welcome offer. So the American Express Gold Card gives you a welcome offer of 60,000 American Express membership rewards points when you spend at least $6,000 on the card in the first 6 months of opening the account. That's relatively easy to hit. That's just $1,000 each month for 6 months, or just all your spend for a couple of months if you spend more than that. And if you value these points at 1 cent per point, $6,000 in spend, 60,000 points would be equal to around $600. Now you're left with 10% return on spend, and obviously a 10% back credit card is worth more than any of us could hope for. So at least while you are spending toward the welcome offer, this card is obviously worth it. But this isn't the highest offer we've seen in a card. We've seen very recently, actually, the American Express Platinum Card, which is in the same family of cards as the Amex Gold Card, offer you 175,000 points as a welcome offer. So again, 60,000 points is good, but not great. That being said, what are Amex points worth? It turns out if you redeem them towards travel through Amex's transfer partners, they can be worth more than 2 cents per point. Otherwise, they can be worth less than 1 cent per point. So the value of this card is highly dependent on whether or not you are willing to actually transfer out to travel partners to get the max value for these points. Now on to the annual fee. The annual fee for this card is $250 a year, but rumor has it they listed a page, and this was found by Danny Deal Guru, the blog. They've actually been testing a page that advertises a $325 a year annual fee instead of the $250 annual fee that exists right now, but they didn't change any of the benefits or credits. So usually when an American Express card's annual fee goes up, they add more credit to try and justify that. But in this case, because of how popular the American Express Gold Card is, the theory is they might be raising the annual fee without increasing the credits. The current credits that offset this $250 a year annual fee are a $120 Uber credit, and that could also be used at Uber Eats, as well as a $120 a year dining credit, which can be used at a handful of restaurants or at Grubhub. People who love the American Express Gold Card will quickly point out that the $240 in credits we just went over counts against the $250 a year annual fee to give you a net effective annual fee of really only $10. But that assumes you value these credits at their face value. The problem is that that's a big mistake. If you're someone who doesn't take exclusively Uber and you check Lyft to see which is cheaper, if Lyft is cheaper, you might take the Uber anyway because you have this credit. But say the Lyft is $8 and the Uber is $10, you're going to use your $10 a month Uber credit on that ride, but you're only getting $8 of value because you would have just spent $8 if you would have booked it on Lyft. So it's very easy to see how these credits can be inflated. Let me give you another example. Assume you want to use this credit for Uber Eats. You might think, oh, I would normally drive myself to the restaurant, pick up the food, and drive it back to my house. However, because I have this Uber credit, I'm going to use it, and then Uber charges way more than $10 worth of delivery fees and extra charges and markups onto your Uber Eats order, so that this $10 credit isn't really worth the full $20. The same can be said with the dining credit, where you have extra charges on Grubhub, or if you're forcing yourself to go eat at the Cheesecake Factory every month when you normally wouldn't do that. Now, if you don't know off the top of your head whether or not these are charges you'd actually make with your normal course of spending, in my day job, I'm building an app called PointWise, where you can actually connect your credit and debit card accounts, and we'll analyze your spending across all the different cards that are out there and give you the mathematically best card for you based on your preferences and your spending. That way, you don't have to wonder, would this card be worth it for me, or would I be going out of the way to use the credits? Because whatever credits you've naturally used in the past would be what our algorithm picks up, and that would be what goes in ultimately to our ranking of the best card for you. So if that interests you, I'll leave the link to PointWise down in the description below. It would mean a lot if you go and sign up. So to summarize the credit, it could be worth up to $240 a year, but your mileage really does vary here. Which brings us to the multipliers. And this is where the American Express Gold Card really shines. The flagship multipliers for this card are 4x back on restaurants, as well as 4x back on US supermarkets, up to $25,000 a year in spend. So if you have a massive family, maybe you'll go above that. And again, if you're someone who's willing to use the Amex transfer partners to book flights, where you can get around 2 cents or more per point, this 4x back could become equivalent to around 8% back or more, which is what makes this card so compelling to people. You also get 3x back on airfare and any travel booked through amextravel.com, but I do not recommend you do that for reasons we can get into another time. But the key value for this card, and the reason you'd get it, is your 4x back on restaurants and US supermarkets. This is an amazing card for people who take a lot of clients out to dinner and then get reimbursed for that by the company, because you're getting 4x back on all of these meals that you don't actually have to pay for. But even a normal person, right? Dining and groceries are usually two of your biggest spend categories. And so it makes a lot of sense why this card would make sense for you if you can actually take advantage of the $240 of credits so that you're only paying around $10 a year for this card. But we forgot about one thing, and that is the issuer rules. See, not many people know this, but American Express has different sequences or families of cards, and oftentimes within their offers, they have language that says if you don't read this itty bitty tiny print, you're going to mess yourself up. And here's what they do. They have a family of cards. In this case, you have the American Express Green Card, followed by the Gold Card, followed by the Platinum Card. And if you get them out of order, you are ineligible for all of the lower tier cards within that card's family. So for example, if you get the Amex Platinum Card before the Amex Gold Card, you're no longer eligible for the Amex Gold Card or the Amex Green Card bonus. You're also only able to get these bonuses once in a lifetime. So getting the Amex Gold Card before the Amex Green Card actually makes you ineligible to ever get the bonus for the Amex Green Card, which is another 40,000 American Express membership reward points. And the reason you want to be careful about this is because the rule isn't if you currently have the Gold Card, it's if you've ever had the Gold Card, you can't get the sign-up bonus for the Green Card. And same goes for the Platinum Card. If you've ever had the Platinum Card, you can't get the sign-up bonus for the Green Card. I was kind of dug into this situation because I got the Amex Platinum Card, and then a few months after that, Amex came out with this rule, and now I was kind of left drowning in the water, not being able to adjust because I couldn't have anticipated that this rule was coming. But you know that this rule exists, so you should keep it in mind. And if you're willing to work your way up the ladder, then getting the Amex Green Card, waiting a few months, and then getting the Amex Gold Card would probably be best for you if the Amex Gold Card is the best card for you. So in conclusion, if you actually value these $240 a year in credits at the full $240 a year, then this card is clearly worth it for you as long as you spend a decent amount on groceries like most people do, as well as dining at restaurants, which a lot of people do. And so if that's you, then this card is a total home run. Again, if the annual fee goes up to $325 for the same credits, right, then it becomes much harder to justify. But assuming they keep the $250 a year annual fee that they have right now, this will be an incredible card. That being said, it all comes down to how much you naturally value those credits at without changing your spending patterns. So if you want to know whether or not the Amex Gold Card is actually best for you based on your actual spending, then sign up for Pointwise and you'll be able to see exactly what the best cards are for you, literally based on your spending, without having to put in any of the work on your own. The link for that, again, is down in the description below, and that'll be it for this video. Of course, comments and feedback are always welcome, and please give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.